Welcome to the after party. My name is Stan, and I'm joined by Carolyn this week. And this is our opportunity to kind of dive into some deeper discussion around some of the sermons that we've been hearing. We're in a series right now called Dear Church, and it's all about Jesus's words to the churches in Revelation. And we were looking at a church called Smyrna, and it was a very interesting letter because they were a church that Jesus had only positive things to say about because they were enduring, and what they were enduring was persecution. And they were just this really faithful church. And so if you haven't had a chance to watch that yet, we'd encourage you to go back. But that's just kind of the frame of reference we're coming in with, is just thinking about persecution and suffering as Christians and suffering for our faith specifically. And you had a really interesting thought of what suffering makes us feel like.
Yeah, I was just thinking of the pain of people's struggles, and it just has this overwhelming kind of sense of like I'm losing, like I'm losing at life. That I'm losing as a parent. That I'm losing my faith. I'm losing as I struggle with my job, whatever. And I just I can't ever seem to have a sense like I'm on top of it and I'm succeeding and I'm winning, and that just really futile place of losing.
Even implied in that is that feeling that like good things should be the norm and the expectation, and not this sense of loss that I'm experiencing.
That we're a bad Christian, or somehow we don't have enough faith if our life is a mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that really just got us thinking about, okay, if that's actually a lie, that feeling that we are losing when we're suffering, what does winning actually look like? What is actually true of what the Christian life looks like?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to think about. Winning and having faith. And I know some of you watching this might be like, I don't even know what faith is, and I don't understand this, how a God could allow bad things to happen. I mean, these are all legitimate questions. And I think sometimes when we think about winning, if we're Christian, we have this like faith of being positive, of all of our words are praise and thanksgiving. And I don't know, I kind of think of it as spiritualizing, where something hits us. I did it when I got slammed with my first panic attack, and I did it. I'm just going to be strong, and I'm going to have a lot of faith, and I'm going to believe that God is going to be there for me, and he's good and kind and right, and I will just praise and be thankful. Well, it's like I was hurting. And so that kind of spiritualizing faith, I don't think that's the kind of faith that is a winning.
Yeah, because that kind of spiritualizing kind of puts the onus on you to kind of pretend like everything's okay.
Right.
And yet, like, you look at the people who are kind of the paradigms of faith in the Bible, and it's often, the circumstances are bad, and they just come to God, and God says, yeah, let's wrestle through this together. Let's talk about this. And that is actually what it looks like to be winning, is to be in that place where you feel like I can come to God just as I am and wrestle through this with him.
Yeah, I think he would probably get pretty tired of people just like, I praise you, I thank you. I mean, I think about my kids coming to me, Mom, I praise you, Mom, I thank you, I praise you and I thank you, and I praise you and I thank you. I'm like, okay, whatever. What's going on in your life? What's going on in your heart? I want to connect. And it's through
Tell me how you really are.
Yes, I want to know how you really are. And it's through our weaknesses and our struggles that we actually connect and build intimacy. So I think that's being able to be vulnerable, to be real. I think that's winning. And then I think winning a life of faith is just like it's a long time obedience in the same direction. It's like one step. I'm just keep my eyes on Jesus and falling in love with him more and more every day. I think that's a winning faith.
Yeah. And the other thing I think it makes me think of is just the realizing that our winning or losing is not tied to our circumstances, but it's tied to our ultimate faith in Jesus, you know. And if Jesus is the perfect example of a person who is following God, is living life exactly how God would want as a human would, then, you know, even when he's being nailed to the cross, that's still
his life was pretty terrible.
Arguably bad.
Yes, bad circumstances. Yes. I wouldn't want that for anyone.
And yet that is still
in God's will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And it's learning to look at my circumstances and know that, oh, God still loves me, even when things are good or things are terrible. Oh, things are not working out. I'm suffering right now. It's costing me to be a Christian. God still loves me, even in those things. And even if they don't work out here in the earthly sense, one of the big reminders of this Revelation series is that Jesus wins in the end. And in the resurrection sense, that is where we are redeemed. And that is where we come to see the other side of what we were suffering for.
Well, and that's where life really starts to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we hope that you continue to join us as we dive into these letters and these words that Jesus has for these churches that came so long before us, but also have so much to say for us that are here alive now. Have a great morning, evening, wherever you find yourself as you're watching this.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.